let's move on to the next topic that it's going to be presented by research topic 3. Fotini Koidaki is the doctoral student for research topic 3. And the topic of today, the title of today's presentation is Bridging NLP, Natural Language Processing and Literary Studies, Computational Approaches to Topics, Sentiments, and Literariness. Fotini, you have the floor with a bit of a delay. Sorry about that.
No, friends. Thank you very much. Good morning from me. As Maria said, I'm Fotini Koidaki. Let's share my screen, if I may.
Yeah. If you could speak up a little bit.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not using make. Can you confirm me that you can watch my screen?
Yes.
Let's hide this. Yes. Okay. Today I'll present a computational approach to analyze literature. We'll explore how NLP techniques can be used to study topics, sentiments, literariness, creativity, and even beauty in literary texts. And then we will discuss whether the computational approach aligns with literary theories. Computational methods have changed how we study literature, allowing large-scale analysis beyond close reading. Scholars like Moretti and Jorgers have demonstrated that statistical approaches can unveil hidden literary patterns, offering novel perspectives on how we analyze and interpret the literary landscape. Yet this prompts a fundamental question: can the essence of literariness, the beauty of texts, and the nuances of authorial creativity truly be quantified? The paper we are seeing today has authored by Arthur Jacobs and Annette Kinder, two professors of neurocognitive and learning psychology at Freie University of Berlin. Here they analyze the English literary corpus of Gutenberg using computational methods. They divide their paper into 3 parts. The first examines topics and sentiments in text categories of the corpus. The second measures literariness, creativity, and the text beauty. And the third is an experimental application of those metrics as input features for text classification and authorship attribution. The study is based on the GLEC corpus, Gutenberg Literary English Corpus, which is large structured corpus containing various genres and well-known authors. The only corpus criterion that they state is the only text from authors that occurred at least 5 times in one of the 6 categories were selected. Since this was necessary to enable the standard 5-fold cross-validation procedure for the machine learning part, the selected texts were pre-processed. They applied tokenization, lemmatization, and removal of stop words. The first study focuses on extracting themes and emotions from texts. The authors applied topic modeling to discover dominant themes in each category and use experimental analysis, sentiment analysis, to evaluate the emotional content of each theme. The authors actually combined topic modeling with sentiment analysis to determine the global sentiment of both subcorpora and authors. Using LDA with GenSim, they identified major topics across the different categories. As for the method, we can say here that increasing the number of iterations from the usual default 1K to 2K to 200 to 1,000, 50, 100 ensures the topics are well defined, and setting threshold to -001 filters out the noise and keep the nuances. The results have been displayed in the practical form of word clouds. We won't go further here. We can see the dominant topics of 4 text categories and an indicative topic cloud for each of them is the last key theme. I included here the cloud of the family topic for the novels, the money topic for the plays, and the war and reading topics for poetry and stories, respectively. The sentiment analysis is not applied directly to the entire corpus, but it was applied to words extracted from topic modeling results. So in this way, they measured the emotional valence of dominant topic words. To achieve this, the authors used GenSim tools, initially LDA for topic modeling, as we said, and Sentiart for sentiment scoring. Sentiart is a tool that the authors had built in the past, an unsupervised tool that instead of relying on a predefined sentiment lexicon, applies a DMS, distributed semantic models, trained on GLEC corpus, on the specific corpus that they study. Sentiart computes a sentiment score for the words in each topic based on their proximity to positive or negative affective words in this learned space. The model then computes the overall affective aesthetic potential is the AAP, which represents the overall emotional tone of the topics. Thus, the AAP value is the mean sentiment score for words in topic. So in this way, the study evaluates how the text categories differ in emotional tone. The key finding here was that essays had the highest happiness score, 0.69, while plays had the highest fear score. So the essays tend to be happier, while plays are the unhappiest category, which aligns with the dramatic themes of tragedy and conflict. This is the most interesting part of the study. The authors attempt to quantify literariness, creativity, and even the perceived beauty of texts using computational metrics. In this part, the study explores several measures of semantic complexity that can serve as indices of literary qualities such as literariness, creativity, and narrational beauty. I organized the methods at the left, depending on my point of view. The table at the right side, though, presents the measures of semantic complexity. I took this from the paper. The authors here have categorized the measures according to their function in this study, which is stated in the third column. Each measure, as you can see, is accompanied by its corresponding formula and reference. To put it as simple as possible, literariness is assessed through three key measures: vocabulary decay and two measures of semantic complexity. Vocabulary decay is estimated by Shannon's entropy, that uses tokens probability to calculate the vocabulary diversity and captures how rich and varied a text's lexicon is. As for the two measures of semantic complexity, the intratextual variance, ITV, measures how much meaning shifts across the text by comparing each chunk, in this case word vectors, to the overall centroid. The stepwise distance, the SD, focuses on local semantic shifts by tracking how meaning changes progressively from one part of the text to the next. In contrast, creativity is represented by forward flow, which looks at global semantic fluidity by calculating the average semantic distance of each word from all its preceding words, offering a more broad perspective than ITV and SWD. For narrational beauty, they use the Kintz model that applies Kolmogorov complexity to evaluate harmony and variety. The final three measures in this table, harmony, variety, and the conditional Kolmogorov complexity, constitute Kintz's combined approach to assess aesthetic coherence in narratives. The core idea of Kintz's model is that the perceived beauty of a book is the balance between harmony and variety that is estimated using Kolmogorov complexity that measures the similarity between two distributions, here topic distributions. Let's see its method. One approach to measuring literariness is entropy-based vocabulary decay. They apply the Shannon entropy to track reduction in lexical diversity over the progression of text. Previous studies suggested that Charles Dickens' novels exhibit significant vocabulary decay due to the time pressure of serialized publications, while Jane Austen's writing remains lexically stable. The graph on the right confirms this trend. Austen's novels show little to no decay, while Dickens' novels show a sharp decline. This study found that vocabulary decay is not just an individual author trait, it is observed across all six literary categories in the Gutenberg corpus. However, not all prolific authors show decay. Some highly productive authors show no decay, while others do. Interestingly, they found that Shakespeare's 154 sonnets also exhibit vocabulary decay. So the study proposes that textual structure, genre, and authorial style may also influence lexical variation. Let's proceed. To measure literariness, they also applied two key metrics, the ITV and SWT, intertextual variance and stepwise distance, to measure how much text shifts in meaning, with the idea that literary texts show greater variation. Findings suggest that plays and poetry have the highest values. Let's take a closer look. Plays score highest in ITV and SWT, reinforcing the idea that drama is structurally rich and varied. Poetry follows closely, showing significant complexity and surprising given its condensed metaphorical nature. Children's literature, essays, and stories have lower scores, indicating a more linear development of meaning. This supports the claim that dramatic and poetic works are more literary than prose. Does this reflect actual literariness or just structural complexity, though? For the forward flow here is used to estimate creativity by analyzing semantic jumps. The higher the forward flow, the more expansive idea development. The results shown in this table indicate that poets rank highest in forward flow, led by John Milton, Alexander Pope, and John Keats. Meanwhile, essayists and novelists such as Lincoln, Trollope, and Defoe rank lowest. This aligns with the expectation that poetic language is more associative and unpredictable, while essays tend to be more structured and logical. However, the question remains, does a high forward flow score always indicate greater literary creativity, or could it simply reflect stylistic differences between poetry and prose? The final measure attempts to quantify perceived beauty using Kolmogorov complexity. The idea is that the most beautiful texts strike a balance between harmony and variety, meaning that they are complex but not too chaotic. Kolmogorov complexity, using Herlingen distance, measures of the difference between two probability distribution, the P and Q. In literary analysis, it quantifies how much the topic distribution of a chapter deviates from the overall topic distribution of a book. A smaller value, I'm sorry for this, indicates less distance and a higher similarity. Using this formula, Kintz defined harmony as the minimal or average complexity across chapters of a book. Lower values indicate that chapters follow the book's general thematic structure more closely. But harmony is necessary, but not sufficient. Very harmonious texts could be very boring. Therefore, variety measures how different the chapters are from each other. High variety means the chapters explore diverse topics, making the book less repetitive. The idea is that a beautiful book balances these two. It's structured but not repetitive, varied but not chaotic. Based on this metric, Emma was the highest beauty potential of all 6 novels measured, since it combines the second smallest harmony value with the third highest variety value. But does this align with human judgment? Is literary beauty something that can truly be measured mathematically? Let's take a moment to summarize the results of the study 2. Vocabulary decay measured through entropy shows that all literary categories experience a reduction in lexical diversity. However, prolific writing alone does not cause decay. It's more strongly linked to time pressure. In terms of literariness, plays and poetry show the highest semantic complexity, while essays and stories rank lower. Similarly, poetry emerges as the most creative genre based on forward flow. The study also explores perceived beauty, predicting that Emma is the most beautiful of the Austen's novels. and it balances between harmony and variety. The third study applies machine learning to classify text and predict authorship. In this part, authors tested whether the semantic complexity features, such as the forward flow, the intertextual variance, can distinguish between different literary genres and individual authors. The tasks were performed on the GMP-15 Pro using MLP, the standard MLP neural network. The MLP classifier uses 5 complexity features derived from the previous analysis to determine how distinct authors and genres are. The classification model performed excellent, achieving 75 to 97% accuracy. Novels were easiest to classify with 97% accuracy, while stories and essays showed some overlap, leading to more massive classification errors. The most predictive feature was the stepwise distance, which captures semantic complexity across the text segments. While these results demonstrate that the 5 semantic complexity features can classify literary texts, beyond gender the classification, the study also tests whether computational models can recognize individual authors based on the semantic complexity features that we saw earlier. The model correctly identified 97% of short story authors, likely due to their distinct prose styles. Novelists had 79% accuracy, reflecting some overlap in writing styles with fiction. However, the model struggled the most with poetry authors, achieving only 74% accuracy. Again, stepwise distance and intertextual variance were the most predictive features. This indicates that authors tend to have computationally detectable semantic features, but it also raises a deeper question. Does this method really capture an author's unique style, or is it just detecting structural similarities in their writing? The study provides an ambitious attempt to computationally analyze literature across multiple dimensions: topics, sentiments, literariness, creativity, even beauty. The results show that machine learning models can successfully classify literary texts, identify sentiment trends across genres, categories here, and even measure aspects of semantic complexity and literary distinctiveness. First of all, the decision to filter out authors with fewer than 5 texts from a literary analysis standpoint raises considerations. By excluding the unique literary voices, we are limiting the textual diversity and therefore the literary representation. So performing sentiment analysis on topic modeling results may capture macro-level emotional trends, but might overlook sentiment expressed in non-topic words. About the second part, even though that this study proves that semantic features of literature are indeed measurable, it remains an open question whether metrics like entropy, stepwise distance, or forward flow truly capture what makes a text literary. Literary theory from Jacobson to Barth suggests that literariness is a function of interpretation, not just textual complexity. Are we really measuring literariness or just patterns in language structure? And if literariness depends on semantic complexity and lexical richness, does this mean that minimalist or avant-garde literature is inherently less literary? How do these computational models handle works that break traditional narrative structures? The experiment in the third part seems to be successful, since it proves that semantic complexity measures can be used as predictive features for text classification and even for authorship recognition. While the model achieves high accuracy in categorizing text and probably in the near future in distinguishing author, if it doesn't already, we must ask, as literary experts, do these measures capture what defines an author's style? Does the model distinguish Austen from Shakespeare because of the literary artistry, or simply because of predictable patterns in syntax and vocabulary? And if it's the latter, can we really say that computational methods can capture the essence of literary style, or are they just good at counting words? In sum, the paper provides an impressive technical framework, but also highlights the need for interdisciplinary collaboration. The challenge is not just applying computational methods to literature, but ensuring that these methods align with literary theory and critical interpretation. Without this bridge, we risk generating numerical insights that lack literary significance, I believe. And thank you. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to discuss any questions you may have.